Well, thank you for being here. This is our second Coffee and COVID that we're hosting from IMAGINEi5. So as you guys know, the three of us, myself, Sarah, Adriana, and Clarice, we hosted 2 ideation sessions on April 3rd and then on April 19th, and then we hosted the Coffee and COVID last week. So just a recap from the last Coffee and COVID, I want to tell you guys thank you. Thank you so much. I followed up with our speakers from last week, and you all provided contacts, resources, and your time for user testing. And you all really were able to provide them with opportunities to move forward in their projects. I know Andrew's on the call. Maybe Andrew, you can just kind of give a quick statement on
that. A statement on what, more like our call yesterday, or what?
Yeah,
what
maybe just kind of a little bit about how you were able to get some contacts afterwards.
Yeah. No, after that meeting, and being from this group, I've had about 4. I think this week I've talked to 4 other people that have connected me with resources, other connections from other cities. Also, one of my calls was someone that works in the homeless community. For anyone that doesn't know, my project's emergency sheltering for the homeless community, and some insight, since I have, I didn't want to miss some of the ideas of what the homeless had. So it was someone who was really ingrained in their homeless community. It was like, hey, here's some outside thinking that I didn't have, and it changed the perspective and brought me in there. I wouldn't have had that insight if it wasn't for this group and those connections that came from that meeting.
Sharing that, Andrew. I don't know if Heather's on the call here as well, but I did follow up with her, and you all had been able to provide her with some time for user testing for her project on it's related to human resources and hiring people on during this time and into the future as we do more online hiring processes. So I'm going to turn this over to Clarice to talk about keeping your target populations in mind while you're working on your projects.
Hi, everyone. So today we're going to introduce a tool for you to better understand your target population, the empathy map. So I will talk a few minutes about what empathy map is and how to do that before we give everyone opportunity to do that yourself. So as entrepreneurs, we are not the users. We don't know what they would do and how they would think. No amount of training or expertise tell us what is going on in users' head. We can research, observe, ask, and surmise. And when we take the time to better understand them, we can empathize. Empathy is a critical part of human-centered design. An empathy map is a collaborative tool team can use to gain a deeper insight into their customers. Much like a user persona, an empathy map can represent a group of users, such as a customer segment. Creating an effective solution requires understanding the true problem and the person who's experiencing it. The exercise of creating the map helps participants consider things from the user's perspective, along with his or her goal and challenges. We'll also talk a little bit about what's the steps, how we create an empathy map. First, we need to establish focus and goals. The person for the map is the user who we want to understand and empathize with. We will start by summarizing his or her situation rule. The desired outcome is what we hope the user will do. What does success look like? Step 2, capture the outside world. We will start by examining the user's experience and imagine what it is to be like him or her. We will complete the section of the map to capture what the user sees, says, does, and hears. Step 3. After completing the outside elements, the focus moves inside the mind to explore the thoughts and feelings that are internal to the users and not observable. We will ask questions like, what does he or she think and feel? Step 4, summarize and share. We can share our thoughts on the experience as well as how it changed our perspective of, or if it produced new insights. So let's move on to see an example. Here's an example of empathy map for IMAGINEi5. Our target user will be people ages 18 plus who want to take action but need support, resources, and community. What they are seeing, a news going on, masks on face, people in pajamas working from home, as well as stock market failing. What they are saying is, how can I help my loved ones? I want to help, but I don't know how. What they are thinking is, I have more time now. What can I do to help? What they are feeling is a little bit anxious, a little bit hopeless, a little bit sad, but also inspired. I want to ask the question, so who is your target user? And what's your target? What's your purpose? What do your users see, say, think, and feel? By asking those questions, you will have a better understanding of what your user actually need instead of what you think your users need. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Clarice, for going through what an empathy map is. So now that we kind of talked a little bit about what an empathy map is, how do you better understand the voice of the customer that you're trying to address? We also wanted to talk about collective healing. So right now, it's kind of a traumatic time for a lot of people. And as a part of that, we need to consider what it looks like to bring all of our resources together and all of our kind of stories and experiences in order to heal one another and build a community. So for the next part of this event, we're really going to focus on developing personal empathy maps. And I'm going to hand it over to Adriana.
I was muted. So if you were with us last week, we went through like a quick switch and questions that engage us and was starting to create a community. So we want to get you in those same places in order for you to explore these ideas about personal empathy map. So you will see a similar scheme in terms of we're gonna do 3 switches with 3 questions and 3 people per room. And each of the teams is gonna have 10 minutes or so to go through each of the questions. So it's a similar dynamics as last time, but it's a way to connect for you with each other and think, feel, see, and understand what others are saying. So take this opportunity to explore about yourself or explore about the community that you want to develop your idea for. So let's go into the first question. So the first question is, what am I thinking and seeing during this pandemic? So each of you will have a minute to introduce each other in the small group. And then each of you is going to have like about 2 minutes or so to talk a little bit about what are you thinking and seeing. So remember, thinking and seeing. So what are you thinking and seeing? So I'm going to break you up into rooms starting now. You're going to accept the rooms and then you can call me in if you need anything. Okay?
Sorry, one quick stop here. I just want to see, does anybody have any questions before we go into this?
All we're doing is talking about what we're thinking and seeing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so the next question that we're gonna tackle is, what am I feeling and wanting to say out loud about this pandemic? So like, let's think about our feelings, and is there something that you had inside that you wanna say about the pandemic, that you see the light, or whatever it is in your head right now that you're feeling about this pandemic? How is it affecting you or changing your perspective, or how do you see a new future going on for you? Okay, so I'm gonna send you to the rooms again, and you have the same timing available.
Adri, can I ask a question
Yeah.
before we go to breakout sessions? So, could you reiterate what is the objective of the empathy map? Like, is it to come up with new ideas, or is it to get to know each other better? Could you elaborate on that? Thank you.
Yeah, so it is a tool that will help you understand your customer better, understand yourself better. So like we're using it for ourselves in order to understand where do we stand right now. But you can use it for your in your project in order to understand like and we will talk a little bit about how to use it for the customer at the end of the breakout rooms.
Yeah. The really interesting thing is like it kind of helps you lay out what you know and what you have, like what are some gaps in the knowledge right now in order to address your customer. And also, I think like talking about outwardly our own personal empathy map, like our own personal experiences, helps our own resilience through all of this. I think even my last session, the last 10 minutes, somebody mentioned like the concept of like death and like how now as a culture we're having to evaluate that and like having to face it. And I think whoever's if somebody can mute themselves if you don't mind. But yeah, but I think that's quite interesting. That's quite an interesting thought because we felt that death was far away, but now it's here. And what does that look like? And how can we together face that? And how does that change the way we live day to day? Those are like some of the questions that just came out from the first 10 minutes and like help me look inward for myself too. So I hope that helps answer perhaps why we're going through this or why we set this session up in this way. And if you have more questions, we'll definitely address that when we get back from the second one. Hey everybody, how are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Excellent, awesome. Okay, so I heard that there might be some other questions. I saw that in the chat. Are there any questions before we move on to number 3?
Yes, I have a question. So this is meant for us to work on the empathy map so then we know how to use it with our customers or with our clients?
Sure, yeah. So it's kind of it serves a dual purpose. So the first is, yes, it's used as a tool for your clients. So for like any product that you're trying to make right now out of your project dedicated to COVID or into the future, you can use it to understand your customer. It kind of gives a voice to them, right? It like helps you understand like their perspective. What are they thinking? What are they seeing? And then the other aspect of that is like the second purpose for this is our own like understanding of what's happening right now. And like if we model this empathy map on ourselves and like our community, which is what we're building right now, what does that look like? What do we know and what have we not considered yet? And maybe that can give us a new perspective. And then also that might offer even more value into your projects too. So that's kind of does that help?
Okay, so it's about sharing, the second part is about sharing and listening to what other people say and think and feel.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly.
And
I'll take a meeting with intellectuals and a lot of people to check my opinion and engage in some conversation on anything at any time, and that helps me strengthen my position or find other positions. And I love this. So anytime I get a chance for this, I'm down.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, Nathan. All right, I just posted in the chat the location for this file, so you can check it out. It's a view access. So now the next question, I'm gonna let Adriana on here.
Yeah. So the final question, the last breakout room that we're gonna cover is, what is a recent story or a person that has inspired you? So think of what is a recent story so that like makes you do something real like right now. So like, for example, for me right now, I just found out that my parents have COVID. So for me right now, I feel the need and the anxiety and the will in order to figure out a way to help anything create something for the elderly. So that's essential to me. That's moving me. It's making me feel a little stressed out. I see them suffering and I cannot do anything like from far away. So like, what is a story that is making you move and act right now? So I'm gonna send you into the rooms and cool. Yeah. So yeah. So you have also 10 minutes to discuss it. Okay. And I'll pull you back in a minute. Okay, so in the last minutes, we just want to touch bases on how do we want to use this empathy map in the projects that you have going on. So this is an example from the homeless population. So if we take the example of like, okay, we have the user is the homeless population in Los Angeles. So this ties back to a project that Andrew is working on, right? So from our perspective, what we're seeing is that maybe the stores and parks are closed and they don't have anywhere to go. The homeless shelters are filling up and there's less people around and the food banks are overwhelmed. So then if you go into thinking, like if I get sick, maybe the homeless population, a homeless person is thinking, if I get sick, where should I go? Or how can I shelter in place and where can I wash my hands? And then if you go through like, what are they feeling? Maybe they're feeling afraid or worried or anxious or sad or many other feelings. So think about whenever you are interviewing these people, think about like the body language that they're using. Maybe that is gonna tell you, give you more insights into pinpointing the or shifting your solution into something that is gonna be more realistic for them to apply. Maybe what they're saying is gonna give you more clues. So there is nothing, I need to find food and place to sleep, I feel alone. So based on this, you can pinpoint and very like understand and craft your solution based on what the people are saying. So yeah, this is a tool for you to use in order to help understand your user a little bit closer and pinpoint new different insights that maybe you didn't think were applicable. And well, talking about the homeless population, I know Andrew is on the line, so anything you have to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, looking at the empathy map and taking different examples from it will help you be able to touch base with, you know, thinking what your user needs is one thing, but looking at these different sides of it kind of gets you in a different mindset, because you might just get stuck in your ways and be missing something that's very crucial. Whether it's, you know, what one recent thing that got brought to me is a feeling of anxiety and not trusting, because they have all of their belongings with them. They carry it. We leave it at home in our apartment. They don't. And I didn't even think about having a place for them to store their things. And so it brought me to the user base and an outside thinking that I typically would have, because I don't generally live on the street and I don't carry all my stuff with me. So using these different ways of thinking gets you outside of what you typically look at things and incorporate different ideas that you may have missed, and really comes up with different ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. So next up, we have the next coffee chat next Friday, May 8th at 10 a.m. It's going to be in the same link. And yeah, if you want to speak up in the upcoming coffee chats and share your project, just let us know. Let Sarah know and the team in IMAGINEi5. So we want to hear from you next week and see you in a little bit. Take care, and yeah, let us know if you have any other questions. And so you have the link to this information, and we'll be posting some of this in our website as well. So hopefully you enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for putting this together. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe.
Thank you. All of us together in one.
Thank you very much.
I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all of you. Take care.
Bye.
Guys.
Oh my God.
Why do you brother? Hey.
Where have you been all my life?
Someone should record these. Well, I'm sure you are recording them. Like these little goodbyes. They're so sweet. Like put them in a
like this.
fat video, you know? Yeah.
What figure you use for Trump?
I didn't hear anything, but I heard Trump.
Good.
No.
because I came up late. I'll go out late also.
All good. Unfortunately, I have to hop off, but I'm really glad we all got a chance to meet and talk. I'll see you guys next week.
Take care. Have a good week.
Bye.
Yeah.
It
Bye,
says
everyone.
earlier, like, you know, read the emotions of your, like, the person we're talking, and then suddenly I just came like, okay, read what I'm doing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye. See you next week.
Bye, Nash.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.